heard it here first. Bitcoin is going to zero. Zero. When it comes out, zero.
95% are going to die. There's also entertainment to watching companies die too.
I don't think I give a shit about my legacy. That's not what matters. I think what matters is what impact I have on the world in the end.
Cryptocurrency exchange FTX is now filing for bankruptcy. Its founder has resigned too.
You know what's interesting these days? Bitcoin.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay. But take all your money, buy Bitcoin. Then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin. Then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business that's in your family for 37 years and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert the proceeds into the hardest money on earth, which is Bitcoin.
You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up.
Boom.
Oh,
Man, what a good intro, man. I love those. I can't get enough of them. I don't know about you, bro.
I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. Welcome back, folks. And man, we got a good one for you tonight. And of course, with me, the man who needs no introduction, the most interesting guy I know. You know, a rattlesnake once bit him, and after 5 days of excruciating pain, the snake finally died. Brawnz, how are you tonight? Welcome back.
Good. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here, Texan. How are you?
Man, I'm having a great week. It's been, well, one interesting week in the crypto space, especially with Bitcoin. I think we had some ups and downs. Mostly, I feel downs this week, but we'll have to see how it all plays out. I mean, the future is definitely bright in the space, and I'm looking forward to see what comes next. You know?
Yes, sir. It's bright. It's bright.
It is. Absolutely. Now, of course, before we get into it, folks, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe down below. Every little bit helps. And tonight we're going to be getting into the Bitcoin charts as per the norm. And again, yeah, we've been, I don't know, going down the past couple of days. We're going to be talking about that, getting into that. We're going to be talking about the, well, first spot Bitcoin ETF that debuted in HK. That's right, folks. Hong Kong. Wah, wah, wah. We'll be looking into that and see, see what that is all about. And we're going to be reviewing BlackRock, and they're taking a look at some pensions coming into Bitcoin ETF, and that's some exciting news. Definitely brings us to the next level. You ready to level up there, Brawnz?
I'm ready.
Man, I'm ready.
To the moon.
Yeah, there it is. Boom. So we'll be wrapping it up with some of the evergreen that we usually talk about. And this time we're going to be talking about the strangest and scariest ghost towns out there. So if you're interested with that, after all we've been talking about in the crypto space, stick around because we're it's going to get spooky and scary and really strange in here. So, all right. Brawnz, what do you say we jump right into it then? Let me go ahead and pull up the charts here. And of course, we're always taking a look at the Bitcoin chart and seeing what not only the price action has done, but what we expect the price action to move in the near future. Brawnz, can you see that all right?
I can see it.
Yeah, let's see. It looks good to me as well. Now, taking a look here, and of course, anything we talk about is never financial advice, folks. We are always here to entertain, but we do like to have the discussion. So we're taking a look at the 4-hour. This is Bitcoin, and well, we take a look at the 4-hour. It seems like we've been tumbling down for a little bit. So let's go ahead and see if we pull this out. I'm going to go ahead and actually get this to the daily so we can take a look where we've been over the past, call it, last 4 days. And as you can see, well, yeah, ugly. We continue this downtrend. And, well, as of Monday, when we debuted in Hong Kong, well, we've been going down ever since. What the heck's going on with that? So we've got some really red candles, and we did break through the support at the 60,000 level. Now, lower support of that range or that box was right around 59. Now we're kind of fighting it. Now it's acting as resistance on a way once we broke through it. And that's kind of where we are actually at this very moment. We're fighting with that 59. What do you think, Brawnz? We're going to go ahead and continue this downward trend, or are we going to bounce up from here?
I mean, it looks like on the near term, I mean, it's still trending down. That's how I'm looking at it. This week, I saw like everybody, all the ETFs are doing a sell off, but we're just talking about near term. I mean, it's eventually got to go up. There's still continuous bullish news, but yeah, for this, I don't know how long this is gonna last. When you said resistance, you're talking about resistance on breaking on the upside.
Yeah, now we have resistance on the top end. So let me go ahead and just pull it back out here. On the daily, you saw that we broke. So this was the support at 60,000. As soon as we started to break through it, that's when you wanted to really pay attention. We closed a big red candle that day, and we were actually, was watching this around 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and we were trending very low. And then, of course, there was a retracement. Now, we did get a bit of a reprieve, and it did bounce back up, but this resistance level right here is now one that we need to break back through in order to, well, attempt to break out and get above the 60,000, call it 60,600 mark moving forward. So this is the current level that you want to pay attention to. It's going to be interesting to see where we go through the night if we are going to go ahead and try to break out above 59, or if we're going to go ahead and bounce back down. Indicators right now, I mean, right RSI levels in the daily, we're running real low. We're not quite oversold. Anything below 30 for RSI is an indication of oversold. We start taking a look at the smaller time frames. Well, we're still not oversold. You don't want to go too far down because then it kind of invalidates any type of breakthrough through the resistance and or support. So I do think that the cup and handle scenario that we were talking about last week is still valid. If we take a look at the daily and weekly, and as we talked about this, no one's talking. No one's talking about this potential cup and handle. Let me go ahead and zoom this out, folks. Get a good look at this. What's that now?
Oh, I'm saying, yeah, no one's talking about it but us.
No one's talking about it but us. I agree. I think I feel like that's a little bit strange because usually there is a similar narrative, especially between us, influencers out there. But yeah, so here's the cup itself and then the handle. Now we're breaking just below the handle. That doesn't necessarily mean a whole heck of a lot. As long as we continue a retrace back up, and you could see this downward trend that we were expecting, I would think that what we'll do is from here on out, we will then start to, over the next week or so, start to see a slow retrace up, and then we'll be attempting to break above this resistance level here. If we do, folks, it's big news, and we're looking at a potential all the way up to, call it 125. Now that's on the weekly. I'm not saying that's happening tomorrow, and of course, every candle that you're seeing here is a week, so that may take some time. But I feel like that's certainly. I don't think that that's hopium there, folks. I feel like that's conservative, especially when we take a look at some of the numbers that we see some of the influencers putting out there. 125 on the top end for this bull run, I feel like is very conservative and realistic. So
buy the dip, everyone.
buy the dip,
Financial advice.
absolutely. Never, but I'm doing it. So, but don't need to listen to us there, folks. I think that honestly, going into the weekend, what's interesting, especially when we do our shows on Thursday, we typically see some kind of leveling off period on Friday, and then the weekend is usually not that volatile. That's not to say that weekends never are, but
Right.
usually they are not. So,
Right.
we'll
And
have to
it's
see.
interesting because I feel like that's kind of what the advantage of the crypto trading compared to traditional markets. I mean, traditional markets are not active during the weekend. So yeah, so it's been lately, yeah, like you said, that's it can happen, but lately, I mean, so far we've just been seeing it's been non volatile
Yeah.
during the weekends. But always keep your eye out.
Always keep the eye out, especially if you're using any type of leverage. Never want to walk away from the glass. Always want to pay attention to the monitor and to the price action because you never know when you get a strong move to the upside or down. Now, usually that is because of any liquidity that is close to those levels, but that's a different story altogether. If you guys are if you guys are not dealing with any type of leverage, just sit tight, slowly DCA in, and just enjoy the ride. This is the ride,
Yes.
folks, and we will eventually be going to the moon. No doubt about
Right.
that in my mind. So
Yeah. Back to the cup and handle. Like there was that line. What was that line where that potential breaking point to the upside? It was like 71.
Yeah, it really
Uh,
depends on the point in which it breaks out, and this is the top of the two peaks, right?
Right.
And so
Okay.
realistically, I feel like if we were to just kind of get in here real close and take a look at it over the next few weeks.
Okay.
So next week, the peak would be right around 71.7. The following week is going to be slightly higher. Well, not a whole heck of a lot. Realistically, I would say 71.7. And how high do you feel? 72.
72. Okay.
Yeah. As we get closer, we'll be able to identify what that looks like on the smaller time frames. Weekly is kind of tough, but 71, 71.7, 72, that's the upper level you won't want to pay attention to for a potential breakout above. And if we do that, we're going to the damn moon for sure. Yeah, there it is.
Boom. Yeah.
Boom. So, again, never financial advice, folks, but it is interesting to see that we were actually overbought for some time as we kind of really kind of beat those all-time highs, and we needed this cool-off period. We were running really hot with an RSI level nearing 90 at some of these peaks. So getting us back into normal range is healthy and just a matter of a now bounce to the upside, and that's what we're looking at next. Are we at all-time highs for this bull run? No, I don't think that we are. I don't think that's what we hit a few weeks back is the highest. I expect a retrace, bounce from where we're at now over the next week and a half, and we're going to just continue on up from there. That would be my guess. Gets us right around the 50-day range for that potential breakout, which is normal after the halving. And I think that's important to keep in mind too, folks. We just had the halving. It is common to see a retrace. If you've been in this market for a minute, you've seen this before. It's history repeating itself, of course, not completely. That's what I say. It doesn't repeat, it rhymes. I think we're going to just see it a little bit differently, but the same. Yeah. So there it is.
There it is. Boom.
Yes. All right. So let's what do you say? More of this?
Yeah,
Stay on this?
Yeah. Hong Kong.
Hong Kong Fooey. Let's go ahead and close this out. And let me go ahead and pull up just a news article that was put out 2 days ago. Now, it's interesting, folks, because if you are paying attention to traditional media, you'll find, well, not a whole lot of FUD going on out there. Now, we're taking a look at CNBC, and they're talking about Asia's first spot Bitcoin and Ether ETFs debuting in Hong Kong. And they're not really, I got to be honest, they're not as hard as what happened on Monday as the rest of the crypto space on X is. And because I feel like anything I saw on X was just ugly. Folks attacking this thing left and right. Now, I don't know if there's a particular reason why the traditional media is taking it so easy while our folks in our space is not, but we didn't have a very good inflow that day. I think that Hong Kong ETF inflows were expected to be significantly higher than what we were experiencing here in the States. I believe folks were hoping that China was going to leverage Hong Kong, the folks over there, and start to purchase. Well, that didn't happen. So it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think we were talking that day. We're going to have a Hong Kong ETF party.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of Chinese food and just kind of watch it.
Yeah.
It turned into, talk about the price action being a party pooper.
Right. Yeah. I really felt like that meme where, with that meme with holding that stick, like, come on. Because at 9:00, our time, Central Time, that's when it was going to open up in Hong Kong, and look for the first 30 minutes and then an hour and then 2 hours. And the needle didn't move, and I was like confused. I was like, okay, what's going on? Where's all the inflow? And it did not happen. And I've still been trying to research and trying to put in, find some speculation, at least to see why the disappointment. Why was it the coming out party didn't really happen basically for Hong Kong? And the only thing I can think of is with China is still probably it's banned. And yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, really, I guess Hong Kong's not really is not it. Or they don't really believe in Bitcoin, which is kind of hard to believe. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out why the non-inflows happened as a lot of us were expecting.
Yeah, well, I think that, and there's some articles talking about this, and a lot of the articles are saying, well, yeah, slow start, and they are picking up, and they are kind of ramping up. Maybe they're a little bit more conservative, and the folks understand the folks that are getting into the ETFs are going to be the folks that really are really, as far as risk is concerned, they're okay with a higher risk. And they're normies, right? They're going to be the boomers that kind of wanted to get into it, but didn't quite know how, wasn't sure, seemed a little bit too risky in its current form on how to get into it. And this is just now the doorway. Now, I think the thing to consider, and this is kind of where our space was a little bit disappointed, we were expecting something higher than the U.S. ETF on day one. Day one in the U.S. was 125 million. Day one here for Hong Kong was a paltry, 6.6 million. And now, good news is that's been increasing. I think the bad news is, let's pull this up. And we were talking about this just before the start of the show. You take a look at the inflows and outflows from the top 11 here in the United States, and man, it was ugly yesterday. 563 million, call it 564 outflows. Huge day. In fact, you take a look at what is it? You had mentioned here we had Fidelity that had a higher outflow than
Grayscale.
Yeah, very interesting. Fidelity 191 million, whereas Grayscale had a 167. But
So with these the inflows and outflows, like say for like the outflows specifically, is it the fund itself that's doing a sell off, or like the holders,
Oh.
the investors that's in the fund that's doing that?
So, I think that I think it's both.
Mm,
Of course, you're going to have outflows from individual investors, but realistically, I think
okay.
that majority of the movement that you're seeing is going to be from, well, the fund managers themselves.
Okay.
And if you take a look at the volume, and let me go ahead and actually pull up. Actually, I gotta get the chart back up. Take a look at the volume. You'll see in some of these spots where it gets really hot. And I think that that's when you're really starting to pay attention and identify these outflows and when they're occurring. So, and I apologize, I
Mhm.
actually closed out TradingView altogether. Love TradingView. If you guys are checking that out, we got no affiliation with those folks, but definitely the chart of choice for me. Let me go ahead and pull this up. They're great free, but they also have some nice features when you get into the subscription as well. But you take a look at now the volume, and this is what I'm talking about. These major spikes.
Mhm.
Typically, they are during normal trading hours here in the United States, but as we start to become more global with the ETFs, this lopsidedness of either gains or sell-offs, which seems to be common as of late, has been during normal business hours. I did find it interesting though that we were watching it when I was watching it that 4 a.m. the other day. It was actually very early in the morning, but when you took a look at it, the overall flows it matched with the outflows that were being, those high outflows that were occurring.
Mm.
So I don't think it's coincidence at all. I just there's more to this, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have a lot of the funds kind of just working with each other with the inflows and outflows and hope to not swing the market price action one way or the other. Now, that's just
Interesting.
conspiracy. What do I know? But I feel like it does make sense logically.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I'm waiting for the. For me, I feel like the funds institutions they're recharging. It's they're waiting for more funds to come in, and it'll just be back like how when we pushed up to the first all-time high this year. But yeah, there's still a lot of upsides right now. It's a good time to get in. It's a good entry point. Yeah, when I saw like the 56, I'm like, okay, this is you wonder why. You try to make sense of it, but that's how the market goes, and it's still at the end of the day, this is still near term, long term. It's going to be ginormous, right? So, yeah. So this almost like this is like a segue for coming into the next part of our show, right? Where we talk about BlackRock.
Yeah,
BlackRock
absolutely.
when it's so so
Let
BlackRock.
me
I don't know if you had the
yeah,
article.
yeah, let me pull this up here. So yeah, and why don't you take us away here?
Yeah, BlackRock sees sovereign wealth funds pension coming to Bitcoin ETFs. So basically, what's been going on, BlackRock has been educating or been in talks and having conversation with these other big institutions, educating them about Bitcoin and like the sovereign, the home, was that the home family office, the pension funds coming in and putting money into Bitcoin or into the ETFs. That is potential. That's another big influx, potentially for the price to go up,
Yeah.
basically. So this is bullish. Now this is just potential. Nothing's said and done yet, but they've been educating and talking about this, and it's not surprising. So basically this is just with the first iteration of this year was the early adopters. Now we're coming, now they're going gearing for the rest of the 95 percenters.
That's exactly right. And, honestly, we need a champion like this, right? We need a champion like BlackRock that it wants to go ahead and continue with the momentum. They got the early adopters, and now what they're doing is they're going after everyone else. And when you start to take a look at pension funds and 401ks, those are the next investment vehicles that you want to go after. We want to make sure that we have every option to get everyone engaged. And you take a look at most of the workforce here in the United States, we all have access to our 401ks. Most of us do. And most of us are just continuing to put into what's available to us. If you take a look at what's available to us in the 401k for crypto space, it's non-existent. They're going to be going after that here next, folks. And in order to get that and create those relationships, they need to get with the right financial institutions, educate them, make sure that they're sending out the appropriate messages so that they can get some feedback for the customers to see if there's any interest. They get that interest, then they're going to start to pair up and partner up with BlackRock. And well, that's just the next step. So I think I love what you said about the early adopters. Yeah, I think we got those. Now it's time to take the next level, take it up to the next level. BlackRock is kicking us off, but make no mistake, Fidelity, all the other big names are doing the same gosh darn thing. So
Yes. I
they
didn't even think about that.
yeah, there's no
Yeah.
doubt about it. Of course, now BlackRock being the biggest, it makes sense we want to talk about that. But there's billions and billions and billions, hundreds of billions in other financial institutions. And that's just here in the States. So as the rest of the world comes online, we're going to see a lot more interest from the normies or the boomers, whatever you want to call them, moving forward.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, I mean, I had to double check like which sovereign wealth funds were, but basically they are like state funded funds, government funds.
Yeah, pensions, absolutely.
Yeah, that is massive.
It's massive. It's huge. I mean, half the United States have unions, half of them don't. But the northern states are typically a little bit more welcoming to those type of organizations, and those unions have pension funds. That's big money. Half the United States having these pension funds. And of course, there's private pension funds out there besides the unions. So private companies, but it's big. It's massive. This is massive. This levels us up for sure.
Yeah. We're not even talking about like the churches, all these other like independent organizations. Imagine them like getting in on it. Yeah. So
I think they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to, right? I mean, listen. The thing is, think whatever you want about, say whatever you want about Bitcoin. That's fine. Whether or not you feel like it's appropriate, but I think what we really need to understand, and I think what everyone is starting to understand outside of the crypto space is what blockchain is and the potential for that. So I don't know. I do think that while I am definitely not for this, I do think that we will see once we get some traction, we'll have those centralized digital bank currencies. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Not in the near term. And again, I don't want you to think that I'm all for it because I'm not. I think that it creates a lot more, I don't know. I don't want to say power, but they'll be able to track a lot more easier moving forward. That decentralization, when that happens, just is completely out the window. I think we're probably in a sweet spot right now. And at least here in the States, I think that they're going to go ahead and start to push for this to be more and more centralized so that they could go ahead and make sure they're getting their cut of any taxes owed. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, just make sure you get your Bitcoin, folks.
Get your Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You hear about what Biden's looking to do with taxes here? I don't know if you've heard of this. So as you guys know, anytime you, at least here in the States, you may or may not know this, anytime you hold any type of stock or crypto, you get taxed only when you sell and only when you make a profit. If you sell and there's a loss, then you get a little bit back and you get write that off at the end of the year. What they're looking to do, or what Biden is really trying to push out here is, it doesn't matter if you are selling, if you're holding at the end of the year, whatever gain you make, they tax. So you don't have to sell anymore. Now, that's not going to say that it's going to go through for sure, but something to pay attention to here in the States. I don't know that it's going to get too much traction. I can't imagine. It doesn't matter what side you're on, left, right, middle of the road. It doesn't sound like it's a good move any way you look at it. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah,
just sounds like political suicide, you ask me.
Right. I'm just thinking, okay, why did he even propose that in the first place? I mean, I guess he's trying to get as much money as possible.
All about tax revenue, for sure, no doubt about it. They need better cafeterias to eat in Congress and Senate. So
yeah, more Christmas trees. I mean,
more Christmas trees, absolutely. Why not?
The White House special. I'm like, wow, okay. There's there's Christmas trees all over. I thought one is good enough.
Your taxpayer dollars hard at work. There it is. All right. Let's go ahead and shift gears here, shall we?
Yeah.
And talk about something. Guys, we do this if this is your first time. If it isn't, you know what we're getting into. Stick around because we like to talk a little bit about evergreen and just stuff that kind of lasts, longer lasting. Everything in the crypto space just comes and goes, but this eases us right out there. And I'm going to be talking about, where is it? Here it is. Let me know you see that. All right. Ghost towns.
I see it.
Ghost towns. So definition of ghost town. Basically, well, I don't know if ghosts are truly involved. But just towns that were long forgotten or for one reason or another. So we got a few here we want to talk about and shift gears a little bit. Brawnz, why don't you kick us off here?
All right. I don't know how to Craco, Italy, an abandoned town constructed at high elevation that was devastated by natural disasters like landslides and earthquakes, forcing its residents to evacuate.
Yeah.
Look at that. It looks like it's that place is made out of rock.
It does. Yeah, they do a pretty good job of that over there. They have many different villages that kind of look similar, but of course, when you get something like earthquakes, maybe an earthquake-prone area, those type of buildings, well, they don't last too long, and they can stand the test of time for sure. Now, we're not talking about California. We're talking about, and I think it's actually Craco, Italy.
Okay.
So, but I think we're going to get corrected here in just a second. Now, we got a video here. Why do we have this guy up here? The other thing that they didn't mention in that previous slide there was actually the plague. This town also had a few events with that, and it didn't help the cause. So let's see what this is all about.
Journey back to Craco, Italy, a ghost town with secrets. Founded in the Byzantine era, this ancient town faced plagues, earthquakes, and landslides. Its haunting beauty caught Hollywood's eye, featuring in films like The Passion of the Christ. Ghost hunters tread its silent streets, seeking whispers of the past. Amidst decaying walls, ancient churches hold secrets.
Well, all right. I think now a lot of these ghost towns, they do have a lot of visitors, but a lot of it, because for obvious reasons, the fact that it's a little bit dangerous, you can get hurt or worse, are kind of sectioned off. So if you guys see anything on here, you want to find out a little bit more, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there that kind of talk a little bit as to, a little bit more into the history, and then you got folks that are actually going into it and getting a little bit of a bird's eye view, no pun intended there, to the Mr. Plague there.
Man.
All right.
Hashima Island, Japan. Once a thriving coal mining town, this island was abandoned when the coal reserves dwindled, leaving behind an eerie ghost town that is now an UNESCO World Heritage Site. Visitors tour its overgrown industrial site, semi-ruined concrete workers' quarters, and so-called stairways to hell. So this is a floating mining platform.
It's an island. It's an island.
Okay.
It's not floating. I mean, it may look like it is, but it's basically an island that was highly populated. As you can see, the buildings were kind of built up on that. I think that it is interesting, though, that you're mining on an island that really isn't that large, which is why they semi-ruined concrete worker quarters and the so-called stairway to hell makes sense, right? Because if you're mining, the only way you're mining is not through, you're mining down. So let's find out a little bit more.
Hashima Island, also known as Gunkanjima or Battleship Island, is a fascinating place located off the coast of Nagasaki, Japan. Once a thriving coal mining community, the island was abandoned in the 1970s and has since become a haunting symbol of industrial decay. Its dense cluster of concrete buildings, overgrown with vegetation, provides a striking visual contrast. The island's dark history and unique architectural remnants have made it a popular destination for urban explorers and photographers.
Man, that does look creepy. I mean, it looked all those buildings all like together, all bunched up together in such a small place, compressed.
Absolutely. No, and concrete, especially on a lake, by the sea, in the sea, kind of the way that this is, it's just not comfortable. It keeps the dampness in. It's just it is not ideal. I definitely would. I feel bad for these folks working out there, and was wondering a little bit about this and the conditions. But a lot of these places actually were sets for a lot of movies as well, and I think this one was James Bond. But I find it a little bit odd they didn't talk about that. So, Stairway to Hell.
Yeah. Do you know which James Bond movie it was? I gotta look that up.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say no, but while you're going through the next one, I'm gonna look that one up. I'm sure we can find it. Now, I did find it interesting that you said it looked like it was floating because they referenced it as Battleship Island.
Yes.
And so
interesting.
Yeah.
That's creepy. Those people falling down into the hell on the
that's a Google search. I was trying to find Stairway to Hell. This was just one of those images that came up. I'm like, all right, well, I guess it works. Yeah, moving on. All right, this is a big one.
Pripyat, Ukraine. This town near Chernobyl nuclear disaster site was evacuated in 1986 due to high radiation levels, of course, leaving behind a ghostly abandoned city.
There it is.
Man,
yeah, this is the big one. Yeah. Talk about a ghost town. I feel like this one, and they have plenty of different folks going into these spaces now. You actually can take a tour, but it's highly regulated. There's plenty of rules that you need to follow, and vegetation, the animals, it's all doing some weird stuff over there at the moment. So let's find out a little bit more about this.
The Chernobyl disaster was a tragedy of unprecedented proportions. In 1986, a catastrophic event occurred at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine. During a routine safety test, a sudden power surge caused an explosion that unleashed a huge amount of radioactive material into the atmosphere. The disaster claimed at least 31 lives and resulted in thousands of others suffering from radiation sickness. The events of the Chernobyl disaster had a profound impact on the world, with the exclusion zone serving as a constant reminder of the panic and fear that followed. People were forced to abandon their homes and their way of life, and even today the area remains one of the most contaminated places on the planet.
Yeah, no kidding. In fact, there's a TV show out there right now that kind of gets into all this, and man, it is I don't know.
What's
Scary.
the TV show? Is it the Chernobyl TV show?
It is
on Max.
Go figure. Go figure.
is-
Yeah, we're not no affiliation there, folks, but it does look interesting. I haven't seen it personally, but seems like a nail biter for sure. Even though we all kind of know how this works out. Now the getting back to it because I was quickly googling as quickly as possible. It's actually in Skyfall.
Oh, okay.
with
Wow,
James
that's the
Bond.
recent one.
Yep, and this recent enough,
Oh.
2012,
Oh,
and they referenced Battleship Island. So
time flies.
time flies when you're watching Bitcoin. No, it doesn't. Feels like it's man, every day's a nail biter.
Yeah.
But I don't know, keeping me on the edge of my seat. That's why I love it. So there it is. All right. Okay, let's talk about a few more here, folks. I'm going to be starting off nice and easy with mine here. I don't know if you guys heard about this. This is an let's say abandoned ghost town in Turkey. And basically what they have is, well, you take a look at the photo on the right there. They have over 732 identical miniature chateaus. Now, and I want to be clear, when they say miniature, these aren't that miniature. In fact, the picture that they're taking out of right now is one of them. So understand that these are truly 3 stories high and they're identical. It's the strangest thing you'll see, I think, well, pretty much anywhere. And then for it to be completely abandoned and not in use. Now, this was they basically stopped this project because the pandemic had hit, and then of course there was other concerns that kind of set it back, and the funding just dried up. They were trying to sell these initially for $542,000 US dollars, but that was
Heck no.
Yeah. Now check this out. These are, and again, understand these aren't tiny. And
man, talk about cookie cutter.
I think that's what folks were saying. They were really saying it's just ugly. It's the same thing over and over.
Jeez.
Did you know that there's a ghost town in Turkey filled with over 500 half-finished, fully abandoned mini castles? Burj Al Babas was meant to be a luxurious urban development, offering the look of royal living. However, after locals became enraged with the aesthetic and business practices of the developers, the project came to a halt, and the manor-dotted valley has become a neighborhood of empty, half-finished shells.
Man, talk about fail.
Talk about fail indeed. There's no question about it. I don't know. There's no originality there.
Yeah,
It's cool. I feel like if you had like one of these as one of the models, but you had like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 3 different models to choose from, give it a little bit, man. Variety is a spice of life. I don't know. You get the same thing over and over. Now,
yeah,
you put one of those over here, I'll buy it. It looks, I don't know, it's kind of cool, but it would definitely be unique. It's not unique over there. So
yeah, I mean, look at how the formation is, like the flow. I mean, I'm trying to imagine like how like cars would go in and out. I mean, they don't have any backyards. I mean,
well, maybe you live in a chateau. You don't need a backyard.
oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
Well, that's okay.
Maybe if you can afford a chateau over in Turkey, maybe you could build it someplace else. So
Yeah, they just need a wipe. They just bomb this and just have a clean slate.
yeah, and we'll see what happens with this moving forward there, folks. Maybe they'll throw some paint on them and build some actual roads. All right. Centralia, Pennsylvania. This is an interesting one. Back in 1962, they had a fire. This was a mining town, a coal mining town, caught fire underground, and it spread. Now, this fire is still going today. In fact, it's going to be burning, they expect, for the next 250 years. So, true story, and you can go visit it. It's not restricted, but it's certainly not safe. What you're taking a look at here is a piece of highway that has split open. Now, of course, the highway itself is shut down, but you could go on feet and see some steam coming up because, well, the ground underneath it is just so hot from, well, all of the fire, the slow burning coal fire that will continue until, well, far long after, until we're gone. That's for sure.
Crazy.
So now, there's a few conspiracy theories about this, but we'll save that to the end of this video to talk about. Oh, and I knew it. There's always one, folks. That was the one. I hope that well, they're saying that there is something so secret underneath that place that they caused this incident to keep folks out, and that they are trying to get something else out of the land other than the coal. I don't know. Put on your tinfoil hat there, folks, and check it out. I feel like conspiracy theories are surrounding that town. And if you're in the Northeast here in the United States, check it out. It's just north of Philadelphia. So,
I want to check that
be
out.
safe.
Yeah, don't get burned.
Don't get
don't have barbecue out there.
Yeah, well, you can, I guess. Just yeah, I don't know. Abide by the law of the land.
There you go.
There it is.
Yes,
all right. Okay. All right. The blah, 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 Mexico. This basically is the island of dolls, Mexico. Now, this one's super creepy.
Heck.
And it really is. Yeah. So basically what had happened was the caretaker, when he first got onto the island itself, found a body of a dead girl in, I think it was like in a lake or something like that.
Oh, man.
And in order to protect the island and all of the folks that came on, which no one did because he started hanging up dolls everywhere, I would imagine basically creeped everyone out. Yeah, I don't want to go to that island. There's a dead girl there. And in order to appease her soul, he starts putting dolls everywhere.
Oh, man.
Now, that was in the 60s. Later on in 2001, they found his body right in the spot where he said he found the girl's dead body, which was interesting. Now, if you are not faint of heart, you go check it out. They have folks going there, and it is a visitor attraction. But guess what?
Oh, man.
No one lives there. So,
yeah.
Go figure. Oh, no. Do we get two? Man, I swear.
I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad.
All right. Well, let's wrap up. This is the last one. Silent Hill, West Virginia. Similar to the one that we talked about with Pennsylvania. This one was also a mining community, and they did have to evacuate because of the coal mines burning beneath the town. Now, a little bit more interesting about this one was there was Native Indians that actually was taken over, but I feel like most of that happens on the East Coast of the United States, and it became a prisoner colony, but then, of course, later became miners. Now, this mining fire started back in 1974, and, well, it's still abandoned to this day. So more of the same, but we got some footage here with someone with a lost child in this space. Let's go ahead and pull that up here.
I knew it.
So, yeah, this is, so I think what we're looking at here is just the coal, and sometimes the coal spews out. So it almost looks like snow or a fogginess, but now we did cut out a lot of the scenes. But you'll see here, obviously, I don't know why the child's running away from, but the point is, we cut out all the scariness of this particular documentary, and well, we'll just see how it ends here. And, yeah.
Oh man, what a stupid
So,
lady.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
have.
man.
And now I think mostly the sirens are because of the fires, especially when it's
That's so creepy. Oh,
going out like this.
I'm gonna close my eyes.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Sharon.
Sharon.
Where's my Sharon? It's me. I'm with Sharon. We're coming home.
Yeah, the documentary itself is about 2 hours long, but there was a lot to cut out. So what you got was basically the G version of that, and I think that it's important to do that. Especially, I didn't want to. Last time we got into it, and it just got a little too spooky. So, yeah, there it is. Silent Hill version, of course, that is based off the video game. Now, here's what's interesting. Folks. We talked about the town in Pennsylvania. The video game is actually based off of that. And it's the town itself with the coal mine burning underneath. Silent Hill, the folks over in Japan that produced that, Konami, I believe it was, they took that idea and, of course, made it a little bit more spooky, scary. So, but yeah, no, literally, we had to cut out so much of that movie. We basically turned it into a minute and a half. If you haven't checked it out and you like those spooky movies, that's a good one. At least I think so. Anyway,
check it out, guys, because we had the G version. Yeah, we had to leave it up to your imagination.
There it is. Yeah, for sure. But it all worked out, didn't it? They drove off into the sunset. I mean, the fog or whatever. Anyways. All right, Brawnz, any last words for these fine folks out there?
I'm good. I'm good right now.
Well, all right. Well, I'll say this. I think it's important to take a look at projects overall, folks. I know that Bitcoin overall is one that we focus in on, but we do like the other projects from time to time. You will find, however, these certain projects that act and sound and seem like the other. Case in point, we had Silent Hill basing it off of the original in Pennsylvania. So when you take a look at a lot of these meme coins and projects that are going out there, make sure you're doing your own research. Take a look at the ones that have true value, the ones that are legitimate, and do your own research, folks. Make sure you're doing your own research. That's all I got to say about that. Boom.
Boom.
To the moon.
To the moon, baby.
Anyways, Brawnz, thanks for joining us tonight. Everyone out there, we appreciate you as well. Thanks for joining us. We will be right back. See you next time, folks. Take care.